All right, Ryan. So a little bit late, but we're here to talk about the impact that Sue Bird had on the Connecticut Huskies. Not only that, just go over the interview. I know you told me right after the interview, you're like, Phil, you have to watch this interview on ESPN with Holly, right? It was a very emotional time. I know we wanted to cover this right after the game was over, right after the Storm got eliminated from the playoffs. With that said, I think the thing that I took, when I was getting prepared for this episode, I was looking at, I mean, her resume is absolutely stacked. You look, we will admit it now. We usually go straight to Wikipedia, and we see even though we use other sources, but we look at it. We just like to look at the, I know you do, the long list of career highlights and awards. Man, look, this it's absolutely unreal. I mean, and not only that, below it is all kinds of medals, gold medals, bronze medals. It, but the one thing that stood out to me, Ryan, was durability. How long she played. I mean, I you wasn't even born, right, when she started in the professional league.
No.
I was in elementary school. I think every time I think of Sue Bird, again, I understand all of these career highlights and awards. Yes, they're amazing. But what always I can't get out of my mind, what always comes back to my mind, I was just down the street here at elementary school when she was in the WNBA. And now I'm 28 and I got to see you grow up from being born to right now. And that's I don't know. That's you just don't any professional, well, other than Tom Brady, you just don't see that. And even in, I can't really think of any other WNBA player with that durability. And go back on her history. How many times does she miss games with injuries? I looked it up if someone can tell us, but I could really never see where she was adding an extended period of time or missing a full season.
Yeah, and that's really hard to believe with the 22 seasons that she played for her not to get injured. And just like you said, the durability that she was able to play every season and be great. I mean, she was so great every single season. She definitely has all the accolades that you mentioned. And it all started in 1998 for Sue Bird. She played all 4 years until 2002, where she would get drafted #1 overall by the Seattle Storm. Of course, stayed with the Storm for all 20 seasons there in Seattle. 2002 season in UConn, Huskies went undefeated, perfect 39-0. Of course, went on to win that national championship. Sue Bird also led UConn to a title in 2000. Also, she played with Diana Taurasi, or her counterpart there at UConn. She had quite a career playing for UConn, though. She's 24th on the points list, #2 in assists, and 7th in steals. So she definitely made a legacy not only in Seattle but for UConn as well. Of course, 20 season with the Seattle Storm, and playing her last game Tuesday night, heartbreaking loss to the Aces. I'm sure a lot of people, along with us, watched that game. Just a heartbreaking loss there in Seattle. They were in it most of the series. That was a unbelievable series, unbelievable game.
Yeah.
But she left behind quite a legacy in Seattle, winning 4 WNBA championships and helping a countless number of players improve on their game along the way too, including Breanna Stewart. I mean, look at the athlete Breanna Stewart is, and Sue Bird took her under her wing when she came to Seattle. And Breanna Stewart, unbelievable player, and in my opinion, should have won the MVP award. And that's something I wanted to bring up too, real quick. Not to get off topic with Sue Bird, but I was surprised when I was looking up Sue Bird the other day. I never knew this before. Sue Bird has never won a WNBA MVP, and she hasn't won a Finals MVP award either. I know Breanna Stewart
Ooh.
won the MVP award in 2018, and she won both the Finals MVPs in 2018 and 2020 with the Storm. And like I said, I was expecting her to win another MVP award this season, and the news broke the other day. I believe it might have been after the game or the day after the game, that the Aces Asia Wilson won the MVP award. And first of all, congrats to her and the Aces. She had a great season. Obviously, they have 3 more games to win now playing or 2 more games now because the game was yesterday, playing the Sun and beating them. But in my opinion, Breonna Stewart should have won that award. She was carrying the Storm throughout the whole playoffs. She had the most points in every playoff game except one, 42 points in Seattle's loss Tuesday night. But a lot of that, I think, has to go to Sue Bird, just teaching her the system there in Seattle. Great mentor for all the players, including Breonna Stewart.
Yeah, and I think UConn fans will remember Sue Bird best by actually during I remember we talked about like the best basketball game ever in women's basketball. And we, during our generation, during our time, we thought it was, or we possibly think it ranks up there in the top 5 of the double overtime game against, what was it, North Carolina State?
Yep, NC State.
And so, but I saw where during Sue Bird's junior year, she played in a game against Notre Dame, referred to as the best women's basketball game ever played. And that game was in a book. It was called Bird at the Buzzer. And she took the shot at the buzzer to win the game. So just different memories, like that. I'm sure Husky fans will hold on to forever. And believe me, I'm sure just as many Seattle Storm fans tuned into that game. You're right. I'm sure the whole city. I'm sure Gino. I'm surprised they didn't show Gino. I'm surprised he went at the game, but he might have been. They just didn't show him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if more Huskies fans were tuned into that game than were Seattle Storm fans. Because I mean, and look, Ryan, overall her record, not Seattle, excuse me, Sue Bird, overall Sue Bird's record at UConn in games she played a remarkable 114 games and only lost 4.
Yeah, incredible. And I'm sure a lot of Husky fans are also Seattle Storm fans because I believe 4 out of the 5 players in their starting lineup are at UConn Huskies. And of course, now with Sue Bird leaving. But yeah, Gabby Williams and Breonna Stewart as well. But yeah, I mean, the Sue Bird, the legacy that she left behind was incredible career, helping so many players along the way in college and the WNBA professional level. And so many people that look up to her in the basketball world, especially girls and women who want to play basketball. She will definitely be missed, but not forgotten, and definitely not forgotten at UConn, and definitely not Seattle as well. But it's just an incredible career, and she has 4 championships she brought to the city, and now it's going to be interesting as well to see what Seattle does with Breonna Stewart. I know it's the last year of her contract. Not sure if they'll sign her or not. I hope they do. She's an incredible player, but that'll be interesting as well, and see if Breonna Stewart can kind of carry Sue Bird's legacy and carry the Seattle Storm to maybe another WNBA championship, much like Sue Bird did for those 4 years that they won the championship, and all 20 years to so many great games that she played there in Seattle.
We're just 2 days shy of a week ago. So it was September the 7th that Sue Bird's season came to an end. Just very quickly touch on these 2 things. It's a testament again to how you take care of your body, what you eat, how you exercise, how you train. Because again, I don't really recall her ever going through major injuries or big surgeries. And with her being the 2002 first pick overall in round 1, what do you take? 2 sides I wanted to ask you. From what I saw, she did prove me wrong. They eliminated the Washington Mystics. They swept them. And then, but not only that, they go into, they beat Vegas in game 1. I'm like, oh boy, here we go, Ryan. Like, we're going to see Sue Bird go out on top. But I mean, that wasn't the case. But 2 things to take away from this. She did prove me wrong. I will admit that. I told you Sue Bird was slowing down. I mean, she had that game that went into overtime, Vegas and Seattle. I mean, that is a highlight. That we will be watching that as women's basketball fans. We will be watching that 10 years from now. I mean, that's ranks right up there. Vopel said, M.A. Vopel, a writer for ESPN, it ranks right up there in the top 5, all-time WNBA games ever played. But Sue Bird proved me wrong. It looks like that she actually could have came back 2, 3, 4 more years. I mean, she slowed down at the end of the regular season, but in the playoffs, she heated back up. With that said, at age 41, what do you take away from that? Her not coming back. And even though she looked very in tip-top shape, like she could still provide this team enough to win another championship. So what do you take on that? Her calling it quits. And then not only that, and I get it, she played a long time. Not only that, but how about that last interview with her after that playoff loss? What did you, even though it was a loss, I mean, the emotional ride, it was almost like bittersweet. And if just to maybe mute the TV, it almost looked like that they may have won the game, even though they didn't, because
Yeah.
fans were on their feet, fans were clapping, fans were smiling after a loss, a playoff loss.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a special moment there at the end of the game, and that's why I told you to go back and watch that interview at the end. Just Sue Bird standing in the middle of the court, just holding her hand up, waving to all the crowd there in Seattle, and just it was a special moment because all the fans, like you said, even though it was a loss, and they realized, this is the last time we're gonna see Sue Bird in a Seattle Storm uniform, or last time being on the court playing for our team. But I think it was such a special moment because all the fans realized just how special Sue Bird was to Seattle and the city and the team, how much she did
Well,
for
and
all
just
12.
overall, how about overall the game of basketball?
Yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
the game of basketball in general and what she meant to
She
everybody. And
changed the again, like her position, Ryan. I mean, she changed her position forever, of how it's played at point guard. Who else is point guard? Paige Beckers.
yeah, and I'm sure Paige Beckers also looks up to Sue Bird, much like all the other high school and college athletes as well. But yeah, I mean, what a special moment there at the end of the game, and definitely the game of the year in the WNBA. Um, I mean, it was just such a special moment there at the end of the game, and Holly Rowe did such a great job with that interview, and it kind of was bittersweet with her walking off the court,
Mhm.
but it was really no, I think with her being at 41, I think maybe her I want to say her excitement level maybe during the season, in my opinion, was a little bit down. She was definitely in the game, but I think it was definitely, in my opinion, it was the right time for Sue Bird to go, and I'm glad she made the announcement at the beginning of the season, so
Mm.
everybody kind of knew what to expect at the end. That it's not a shock to everybody that she's gonna retire, but I think it was definitely time for her to go, playing 20 seasons. But I think she could she could definitely play a couple more if she really wanted to. I think she definitely has still a little fuel left in her tank, but I think it was the right decision for her to leave, even though she didn't go out on top. Just an incredible year, incredible season still with Seattle, with her being at the age of 41. But I think it was the right time to go and kind of just leave the keys to Brianna Stewart and all the other Seattle Storm players there that are playing in
How
Seattle.
about how about some time for some how about some time for our comments? Get some subscribers involved before we leave this episode. How about let's go over David Serrano once again. Good show. Phil, your cam has been shaking this past few videos. Well, it's no wonder, Ryan. I'm nervous. We have November right around the corner. Like, I want the Huskies to win. Okay. Once again, good show. Phil, your cam has been shaky these past few videos. Two things here about Paige. One, last season, she was asked if she would go to the W in 2023. Can't seem to remember whether it was the preseason media availability or one of the post game interviews. But she did say at the time that she wanted to stay 4 years and get a degree. Two, I called it in my comment on your video when news of the injury broke out. I said she would be the deputy assistant coach for the guards, but she one upped me and declared she would be the players coach, a peer coach who her teammates could come in for on and off court, advise and help them refine their skills in play.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I expected from Paige Beckers, to be that kind of player on and off the court, or that kind of coach for this season with her being out. But I think that's what UConn needs, and the players need, because with her obviously not being able to play, they need somebody to go to other than the coaches. I mean, all the coaches at UConn are great, but just Paige Beckers, they all not look up to her, but they all know how great of a player Paige Beckers is and how well she understands the system. So, and Paige Beckers does such a great job, like I mentioned so many times, keeping all the players into the game, keeping the energy levels high, just encouraging all of her teammates to stay in the game, even if they're missing shots, not having their best game. She's always keeping everybody active in the game, making sure they know what to do and what to expect next. And off the court as well. That's good, for practicing before games, after games, making sure everybody's keeping up and keeping up with the system, knowing what to expect out of the players as well. So I think Paige Beckers will definitely do a good job, and she'll be ready for the next season. And that would be great if she does stay for these next, I think maybe has 2 years left, I believe, after. So hopefully she stays for the next 2 years. It'll be all four, and hopefully go to the WNBA and have a good career there at
I,
WNBA.
I like this one a lot. Robert Mather. You could listen to Ryan for a while. He speaks well and listens well also. His partner tends to wander off a bit when Ryan is speaking. Not all the time, but in the beginning, mostly. Ryan, I think that's not only on this podcast, but in life in general. When we're hanging out at the gym or wherever, you have to keep me on track.
No, man. Well, I definitely try my best.
Tell
That's
Robert
for
Mather
sure.
that's a job in and of itself, huh?
No, man, I definitely try. I try my best all the time. Definitely on and off the pod, but yeah, I mean, I try my best, and I love the comments. I love when you guys comment. Try my best to give my raw opinion, and whether it's a good or bad one, I'm glad you guys appreciate it.
All right. Well, I will start trying to stop wandering off so much. How about Jason D'Amico? We appreciate all the great words that he has to say. Great guy. We appreciate him coming through again and again. I would need a full page spread to talk about the subject of Paige Beckers, but I will make this as short and concise as I can. Last one for the day, Ryan. The media and Paige's followers all want to see her be the bubbly, charismatic teammate and player that they are all used to. But the bottom line is this: Paige needs to take care of herself right now. She can't worry about her friends. She can't worry about Gino. She needs to take the time and heal the knee and get her mind back where it belongs. This is such a critical time for her. The choices she makes right now will determine the next 20 to 25 years of her life. I do hope that she possesses the wisdom and has the right people around her to help her make the correct choices, because they didn't help her last year. You guys are doing great. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, and I do agree with that Paige Beckers needs to focus on herself, but I believe she can do both. I believe that she can, train and get ready for the next season, and heal up and do all that and training to get her leg right and get her in the place she needs to be able to play at that high level we've been talking about. That we all know that she can play at for the next season, but I think she can do that along with helping her teammates, and along the way, along this long season that it's going to be. And we're about 2 months away still, but I believe Paige Beckers can heal herself and get ready for the next season, along with helping her teammates for the whole entire season. But that is a good point about Paige Beckers just trying to get ready not only for this season, and maybe the next season at UConn, but also trying to prepare for the WNBA, making sure that she doesn't get injured again, and making sure she's able to, withstand a good health, and keeping that leg healthy, and everything else in her body, and making sure that she stays up to basketball shape so she can have a good, long, prosperous career, hopefully in the WNBA.
That's it for today, Ryan. The WNBA finals, Vegas is on the brink of winning it all. And that's what you and I had figured. We're actually, how shocked were you to actually see the Connecticut Sun, though? And the defending champions, the Chicago Sky, are done.
Yeah, really surprising to me because I thought that series would only go 4 games. I had Chicago in 4 and the Aces in
Mm-hmm.
5, but it turned out to be Aces in 4 and Sun in 5. So Jonquel Jones, Deanna Bonner, Connecticut Sun took away or did away with my wings, but Connecticut Sun looked pretty good. They have a lot of length inside. Really good players, but Aces and Sun, that was a really good first game. I thought the Sun were about to steal game 1 from the Aces, but Aces came back, took game 1. But for the Chicago Sky, Candace Parker gave it all she could, and I think I saw something on ESPN about maybe possibly Candace Parker debating whether she should retire or not. I certainly hope she comes back. She definitely looks like she can play 2, 3, 4 years in the WNBA. But Chicago Sky had an incredibly talented team, but Connecticut Sun, they did an incredible job of coming back to win that series. And they have a tough test now with the Aces in the finals.
The one thing you learn is when you can step out of your comfort zone and be uncomfortable, you see what you're made of and who you are. Guess who said that?
My guess would be Sue Bird.
Sue Bird. That's who we discussed today. That's who we went over. The 4-time WNBA champion, Ryan, the future Hall of Famer. I tell you, she put on quite a show for us since 2002 when she got drafted, and even before that at UConn. And Ryan, she doesn't ride off into the sunset, but I tell you what, pretty darn close, because what a career, what a legacy she left in basketball. Congratulations to Sue Bird on retirement. Ryan, I will see you this week.